go.
Hörde du nu att den började?
Yep. Jag fick meddela om att hoppa ur eller stanna kvar.
Nice. So hi, so I'm Daniel. I'm going to be the teacher in the software testing course. And today I'm interviewing Beppe. So who are you, Beppe?
I'm a former student at Linnéuniversitetet. I went to do the web programming program, started in 2015. I did that for 3 years and graduated in 2018 with my bachelor's. Today I live in Melbourne in Australia, and I've got my own freelance company. So I do a little bit of work here and there got a couple of different clients and some short-term projects that come in. Before that, I tried a few different things. I worked for an enterprise company back in Sweden, and then I worked for a blockchain company, and they ran out of money, and I ended up at an agency here in Melbourne, and got to learn a lot about the fast-paced life of agency work.
Nice. So do you think that we prepared you for this life?
Yeah, definitely. I can tell, comparing myself to the other people that I've worked with, I've had just I've been 3 steps ahead of them. Nice. Compared to the ones that, same amount of experience in years, so to speak. So definitely, even people that have more experience that don't know the things that we learn.
So what kind of programming have you been doing? What kind of work?
Full stack, mainly JavaScript and TypeScript, or pretty much exclusively JavaScript and TypeScript. The last 2 years, pretty much React and Node, serverless. Before that, a little bit of integration with blockchain. I didn't do any blockchain programming. I just read a lot of smart contracts.
Nice. And since this is a testing course, how have your testing process looked like, and what kind of tools or
it's been very very varied, so to speak. I worked for companies or on projects where they just say no, there's no time for it, and it's a false economy. They say they want to save the time, get as much done as possible, because testing, obviously you write more code, so it does take longer. But then when you get further ahead in the project and you need to make a change, then all of a sudden it takes so much longer to do that, to make that change, because you have to go in and manually test everything. And you might not even uncover a problem, and then it goes to production, and then you spend a whole day trying to find where the bug is. So it's false economy, but it's very common in agencies. You just need to get something out really quickly, and then the client pays for it if it breaks. So
So do you think that if the clients knew about these kind of problems, do you think that they know about these kind of problems and still do it that way and don't want to pay for it?
They know about it. It depends on the client. Some really don't understand at all. They think that that you do the testing manually. I don't even know that. I think they don't know and understand at all how it works. You have a few clients that are quite tech savvy and they want tests, but then the extra cost in the beginning, most of them don't understand the return on that investment. So agency life, it's a bit less, but when you work for a product company, there's always testing going on. It's definitely a lot more more of a requirement there, and you have dedicated testers in bigger companies and etc.
So, but I guess these agencies still test things, but manually or non-structured test, right?
Yeah. So the last agency I worked at, whenever we had a project, we ended up with usually put like 2 weeks of testing, or 2 rounds of testing. So I had 1 week where we first did our internal testing, and then we handed it over to the client, and then they did the testing. And it's all manual, so just checklist, basically go through, try all the different I go through all the use cases and see, did this work? Yes, it worked. And then go on and then make a report if it didn't, and then hand it over to the client. Then we fix all the bugs, and then it goes out for a second round.
So have you been working with any automation of this, with any automation frameworks?
Yes. Every now and then, you get a little bit of freedom to work on a project. So I had a project to write an integration with an ERP system, so an enterprise resource planner.
Okay.
And
what does that mean?
Yeah. So there's a few of them, and basically it's for example, what retail stores can use to keep track of their inventory in, say, this a store, and they have multiple physical locations, and they have different inventory in each location. So this, among other things, this system will keep track of the inventory in each physical store. And what we did was to integrate that inventory level in each store into a click and collect system with Shopify. And it's not always so straightforward. That was a pretty old system. The only way for the merchants to use it was to jump in via some Citrix server or something onto some Windows machine, and we got XML response back. So I wrote a Node integration library to basically transform all the XML into JSON, and the other way around, to when we were sending stuff into that system, transformed it from JSON to XML. So, and when I developed that, I wrote it test first. So everything I did, I wrote a test first, test breaks, and then I wrote the code to implement it. And
this was automated unit tests. So you wrote a piece of code that is testing another piece of code, so to speak.
Yeah. Yes, that was automated. We were going to have, the whole shebang with automated testing in the CI and all that stuff, but we never ended up setting up a CI pipeline for it. I mostly finished it before leaving, but it's not quite ready for prime time yet, I think.
And CI is continuous integration, right? So
yes, of course. Yeah.
Every time we push something, produce new code, that is tested and perhaps even launched and published if it passes the tests.
Right? Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So the plan with this was for it to be a part of a bigger system, and the bigger system wasn't. They hadn't started working on it yet.
So what kind of tools have you been using for testing?
Well, I've done most of my testing work with Jest, so in both JavaScript and TypeScript. There's also a really good testing library for front-end testing. It's called testing library React. If you work with React, for example, he's got a few other ones as well. It's maintained by Kenzie Dodds. It's pretty good open source library, and I guess he makes his money teaching how to use it. So yeah, but he's really good testing guru for someone to, if someone's interested in that, I can definitely recommend him.
Nice. So if you would give my students in the testing course some kind of advice, what would that be?
To help with the course, or do you mean more for the future?
Yeah, perhaps in the course, perhaps in the entire, in their entire studies, perhaps, or the rest of the studies, or whatever.
Sure, can do both. With the course itself, just Yeah, soak up as much as you can. It's definitely useful stuff. You'll find a lot of use for it, no matter if you end up in an agency like I did, because every now and then you do get the time to write the tests. And if you know and you can argue for why it's useful, then you might be able to get some budget for it as well. And writing tests, it's fun development. You have a lot more confidence in the code that you ship because you've tested it. So I mean, you might not have 100% confidence because you're probably still the one that wrote the tests, and you might have missed some use case or some edge case, but you have a lot more confidence in it anyway. And when you make any changes, refactoring, you know that, well, I didn't break it because the test still passed, and that will save you hours further down the line. So yeah, do that. And I don't know if you have the same structure on it as you did when I took the course, where
Almost, I guess.
basically, yeah, where basically, I think, was it the second assignment or third assignment, we had a bit more choice to, probably the third assignment, we had a bit more choice to implement your own sort of testing project.
It's called, it's the first assignment this year, but it's the second part of the first assignment.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I think it was something that wasn't mandatory.
Yeah, it's optional.
Yeah, I would still recommend to give it a go, because you learn a lot more when you do things on your own. It's really good when you get someone to guide you and to teach you, but the best way to learn things is just to do them yourself. Bang your head against the wall and figure it out, and ask questions, ask for help. But when you find your own path, that's that's the kind of knowledge that solidifies.
Yeah.
I think
like
that goes
advice.
for the rest of
putting the time on it, putting the effort on it. Yeah, nice.
Definitely.
So do you have any further advice on the students for their entire education? What would you like to see in a future colleague that is coming from us?
Yeah. Well, still the same, kind of the same as I said before, that just try things out, build things on your own. Don't just, do what the teachers tell you to do. Get in, do your own stuff, learn some stuff on your own, in your spare time. Whenever you get a chance to, make a project where it's not necessarily defined exactly what language you're going to use or what tools you're going to use, try something new, or try something that you're interested in. That way you always further your knowledge and so keep it relevant and up to date. And that's something that you'll need when you start working as well, because you're not finished. You're not going to go in and run a company as soon as you get out of here. You could if you have your own, but I'd probably recommend that you go in and learn from people with more experience, because there are things that you can't learn by reading. You have to learn by doing.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so thank you very much, Beppe.
Thank you.